There are some places in the world that just feel wrong. Places that carry a darkness you can feel the second you arrive. Deep in the ancient canals of Xochimilco, just south of Mexico City, lies one such place. It's an island not meant for the living, a place born from a single haunting tragedy. Hanging from the trees are hundreds, maybe thousands, of weathered and broken dolls. Their plastic, lifeless eyes seem to follow your every move. Locals whisper that they're possessed, that they channel the spirit of a young girl who drowned in these dark waters decades ago. This isn't a theme park. It's a real, raw, and terrifying memorial that twisted into a nightmare, all because of one man who spent 50 years trying to appease a ghost. This is the story of La Isla de las Munecas, the island of the dolls. To really get the island, you have to understand its setting. Your trip starts miles away at one of Xochimilco's main piers. Here, the hum of Mexico City fades out, replaced by the gentle sound of water and the colorful chaos of trajanaras, the famous gondola-like boats that cruise these canals. As you climb aboard, you're not just floating on water. You're floating back in time. Xochimilco is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the last true piece of a massive lake and canal system built by the Aztecs. The islands you see, called chinampas, are man-made, built centuries ago for farming. As your boat pulls away from the dock, that feeling of leaving the modern world behind really sinks in. At first, the journey is a party. You'll pass boats packed with families, mariachi bands playing for tourists, and vendors selling food from canoes. But getting to the island of the dolls requires you to go deeper. The trip is long, up to 2 hours one way. The further you travel, the quieter everything becomes. The party boats vanish. The mariachi music fades. You slide into the ecological reserve, a much more isolated and wild part of the canals. And here, the world changes. The water turns still and dark. Ancient trees draped in moss line the banks, their branches reaching down like skeletal fingers. The silence is heavy. The whole atmosphere shifts, like you're crossing from the world of the living into a place that's in between. It's in these quiet canals that the old legends feel most real. Locals have always been wary of these waters after dark. They tell stories of La Llorona, the weeping woman who wanders the waterways forever, crying for the children she drowned. They talk about this place being a paranormal pathway, opened when the souls of thousands of Aztecs were dumped in these canals during the Spanish conquest. This place is soaked in folklore and death. As you float deeper into the labyrinth, you can't help but feel you're entering a place with older, darker rules. The journey itself is a slow descent into the heart of a mystery, a perfect prelude to the horror waiting for you. After what feels like forever, the boat slows. The boatman points toward a small chinampa, an island no different than any other, but then you see it. Hanging from a gnarled branch is a single doll, its plastic skin grimy, its gaze hollow. Then, another and another, and you realize the entire island is infested with them. From the water, it's just deeply unsettling. Hundreds of dolls in every state of decay hang from nearly every tree and building. Some are missing limbs, others are headless. Many are naked, their plastic bodies blackened by sun and mold. Spiders have spun webs in their empty eye sockets. They're a silent, unblinking army of the forgotten stepping onto the island's soil, feels like crossing a threshold. The air is heavy with the smell of damp earth and rot. All the sounds from the outside world just stop. There's only an oppressive silence, broken by the creak of wood and the rustle of leaves. No electricity, no running water. Just the primal feeling of a place completely left to ruin. Your eyes dart everywhere, trying to take in the sheer volume of it all. Dolls are nailed to trees, tied to fences, perched on shacks. A decapitated head sits on a stake. A collection of severed plastic legs hangs from a clothesline. This isn't art. It's a chaotic, grotesque mess of neglect that it's one thing to see. Pictures, it's another to actually stand there, surrounded by all those vacant stares. You feel watched, not by a person, but by the collective gaze of these plastic figures. It's an irrational gut feeling. You're seeing so many human-like things in a state of ruin, in a place that feels so cut off from everything. It's no wonder visitors report a sudden chill or an overwhelming sense of dread. This isn't just an island with some dolls on it. It's a monument to an obsession that has festered into something truly nightmarish. When Don Julian died, the legends of the island didn't die with him. They got stronger. The Chinampa transformed from a local oddity into a global hotspot for dark tourism and paranormal investigators, all drawn by the chilling stories. And many leave with new stories of their own. The most famous claim? The dolls are active. Visitors and local guides swear they've seen the dolls move. They report heads turning, arms lifting, and most unnerving of all, eyes opening and closing. People say the dolls' gazes will follow them as they explore the island. Skeptics say it's just the wind or an overactive imagination in a creepy place. But the sheer number of people who report the same thing is hard to just brush off. And then there are the whispers. People claim to hear faint, chattering voices coming from the dolls, as if they're talking to each other when no one is listening. Some passing in boats have even reported hearing the dolls trying to lure them to the shore. This has led to a strange, evolving ritual. Visitors don't just come to look anymore. They come to participate. Many bring their own dolls to hang as offerings, a sign of respect to the spirits. Inside one of the main shacks, a shrine has formed around Agustina, supposedly the very first. Don Julian found. People leave her offerings of coins and candy. Paranormal teams have visited with all their gear, capturing strange audio phenomena. On one TV investigation, a doll with dead batteries allegedly started talking on its own. Of course, psychologists would point to the uncanny valley effect, that profoundly unsettling feeling we get from things that look almost, but not quite, human. In a place like this, our minds are primed to see ghosts in the shadows. But for anyone who has stood on that island as night falls and heard a whisper on the wind, no rational explanation will ever be enough. The story of the island of the dolls, already drenched in tragedy, has one last, perfect, chilling twist. In 2001, after 50 years of dedicating his life to his macabre collection, Don Julian Santana Barrera died. In an ending that sounds like it was ripped from a horror script, he was found in the very same part of the canal where he claimed he'd found the little girl decades before. His nephew, who was with him that day, said his uncle had been acting strangely, claiming that sirens in the water were calling to him, asking him to join them. The nephew left for just a few minutes, and when he came back, he found Don Julian's body floating face down. The official cause of death was a heart attack, but for believers, the story was much darker. The spirits of the canal had finally claimed him. His death cemented the island's dark legend, providing a haunting end to his life's work. Today, the island is looked after by Don Julian's family, but many believe Don Julian never really left. They say his spirit is still there, a ghostly caretaker watching over his collection. Visitors now leave offerings, not just for the girl, but for him, too. The island of the dolls has become a phenomenon, a place where folklore, mental health, and tragedy have all blended together into one unforgettable, terrifying story. So what is the truth? Is the island of the dolls truly haunted by a tragic girl and her obsessive caretaker? Are those hundreds of dolls really vessels for the dead? Or is this all just the powerful legacy of one man's grief and isolation, and environment so creepy that our own minds invent the horror? Maybe it's a little bit of both. It's a place where human tragedy created the perfect canvas for its supernatural belief. The dolls continue to rot, their silent watch over the dark canals never ending, and the legend only grows darker with each passing year. What do you think? Is the island of the dolls truly haunted? Have you ever visited a place that just felt wrong? Let me know your thoughts and your own stories in the comments below. And if you want to explore more of the world's most mysterious places, make sure to subscribe our channel Haunting Shadows Stories so you don't miss our next trip into the shadows.